Okay, start. So, oh, I don't know why. It's not showing me the presentation. There you go. Oh, yeah. Anyways. Here we go. If you want to start, you can just tell me if you don't have that thing to pointer. I can do it here. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. You're the only one. Yeah. So everybody else, yeah. Please do. If you want to sit over there, that's perfect. If you feel confident over there, that's okay. So thank you.
All right.
You can start with.
So just wanted to introduce ourselves quickly. My name is Allie.
I'm Hannah.
And we work at Vanderbilt Mortgage. We are a mortgage company based out of Vanderbilt, Tennessee. And so today we just wanted to kind of give you a little bit of an overview about resumes and cover letters, just so you can prepare yourself for entering the workforce, okay? So a little bit about us. Like I said, we are a mortgage company based out of Maryville. We do work closely with Clayton Homes. I'm not sure if you're familiar with them. They do manufactured housing. And so we provide all of the mortgage loans for customers looking to purchase homes from Clayton. And so we are part of the recruiting team, or the talent acquisition team. So today we'll talk a little bit about cover letters. We'll talk about resumes, and then I don't know if you brought your own resume.
I don't have one. I've never made one.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, we can kind of talk through it a little bit, and then we'll talk a little bit about some of the opportunities that we have.
Perfect. So starting with cover letters. So a strong cover letter really just highlights how your experience aligns to the job that you are going to be applying to. It helps you kind of expand in your own words the skills that you bring to the table outside of just the resume that just talks high level what you do in that job or what you've done in that job. So definitely go research the company. Obviously, when you apply this, but researching the company, it'll help you tailor this cover letter to the job and to kind of what the company entails. Yes.
So when you make a cover letter, you have to make one for every job you apply for?
Yeah, I would encourage you to, unless you make it kind of broad. But if you make it a little bit more specific, it kind of stands out a little bit more. Letting the recruiter know that you have looked into this company, you've looked into the job itself, like you're actually invested, you're not just on there just applying to every job that you see. You can make a generalized one if you would like. So if you're looking at one industry or one line of work, then you know you can make it a little bit more broad, but I would encourage to make it more specific. Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're good. And then the format of it is going to be more of a business letter format, so professional verbiage, keeping it pretty plain. You don't have to necessarily make it colorful or you know, make the font anything extravagant. Just keeping it very plain, bland, and you know, professional. And then again, just including your relevant skills and achievements that align with the role in the company. Something important is checking out the values. I think researching the company in and of itself really helps figure out what it is that the company's values are and if they align with what you work. But putting that into the cover letter also helps. A cover letter is not always necessary. It's not. You're fine. I was like, I hear myself.
I know.
Yeah. We need to see somebody constant.
Oh, yeah.
That's okay.
Sorry about
You're
that.
Cover letters aren't always necessary, if you're looking for, a more career level job, I would say definitely a cover letter, but an entry level role, maybe not so much.
Okay.
So just kind of depending on the job that you're applying for.
Okay.
And then just some examples of bad cover letters. This is what we would consider a bad cover letter. First of all, I don't even.
It doesn't look good if you want.
No, it appealing to the eye, it's not even there. The first one, it says, I'm sick of writing these pedestrian letters, you're sick of reading them.
They wrote that, but you just an example, but like something's probably they did that.
Yes, yeah, this is an actual one, that they wrote, and, it's just. I mean, it is kind of to the point, but
sorry.
it's not good.
No.
And then, this one down here, I do not have any relevant work experience, but when I went through the roles and responsibilities for this particular position. First of all, it's not that I was capitalized, I realized that, no relevant work experience will always be important, people skills, creativity, and this one are the most important attributes in the candidate. Anyways, it's just, it's short,
Yeah.
which is not really the point of the cover letter, and then, just the verbiage and the attitude behind it is not great.
Yeah.
And then these are examples of great cover letters. You can see that it's addressed to your hiring manager, your hiring team. That way, you can send it to multiple ones if you want to. They're a little bit longer. Ideally, taking up the page is kind of nice. It shows that you put in the effort.
Does the length matter?
Length doesn't matter. I would definitely keep it in one page.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah, nothing to look for now.
No.
So basically, you talk about like your skills pertaining to the job.
Yeah, sort of what you've done in the past and how it can potentially relate to this position that you're applying to and some of the things that you feel like you bring to the table over other candidates for that one.
So they could read your cover letter and just be like, well, I don't even look at the resume.
I mean, yeah, if it's a really great one, maybe a recruiter can overlook the resume. I would say more than likely they won't.
Yeah.
But this could definitely be a really wow factor for some recruiters.
Yeah. And it speaks again a little bit more to who you are versus what you've done.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Who you are and the resume is like.
what you've done, that is right.
Who you are.
Great. Yeah. Alright, so going into resumes a little bit now. So basically a resume is just a brief account of your background, your skills, and your accomplishments. This resume, essentially the goal of it is to get an interview, right? That is the first thing that recruiters will look at when they are considering candidates. So cover letter along with resume is the first thing and really the one thing that's going to decide whether or not you get an interview for that position.
Yeah.
So always making sure that it is clear, concise, and that is really what's going to get the employer's attention. And of course, proofreading is very, very important. So some myths about resume. So some people say that it should include all of your work history. Some people also say that recruiters don't really look at them, they use AI. I will say some companies do, we do not.
Yeah.
But some do. One size fits all, that's not necessarily true. You have to list references, not really, I think a lot of companies are moving away from using references at this point. Fancy formatting matters. Simple is probably best.
Yeah.
Including all of your soft skills. I would say hard skills are more important.
What are hard skills?
So hard skills are things like, how to use certain technology or certain programming. For example, you speak a different language, that's a hard skill. Soft skills is more like communication, problem solving, teamwork. So I think recruiters can focus more on those measurable hard skills, and they do on soft skills. And then never use color, that's also another myth. I would say that sometimes that helps you stand out among the bunch, just making sure that you're using properly, yeah. And so rule of thumb is honestly just do what makes sense to you. Again, the resume is personalized to you and your experiences, and also a little bit towards the job that you're applying to. So these are really just myths. Of course, again, simplicity works best, but also you can make it a little bit fun and a little bit different to stand out. So going back to the format, the way that you arrange and lay it out can make a huge difference. If it's easy to read, then it'll catch the recruiter's attention easier. Try to keep it within 1 page in length if possible. Also, it depends with, how many years of experience you have. But ideally, the shorter the resume, the easier it is for us as recruiters to kind of get. Yeah.
So when it comes to like putting your work history on there, and say like you want to get a different job, like you used to work, like should I put the old jobs on there? Because they don't really pertain to like the job. I mean, I guess like the customer service for like fast food and like something else, like should I add those to the resume? And then I have a gap where I didn't work.
Yeah.
Because I had a kid, so it's like, yeah, between that and now.
Yeah, I would say that, yes, you should definitely, even if you don't say that the job necessarily pertains to the job that you're applying to, you should put it on there. And as far as work gaps, as long as you're able to speak to why there was a work gap, that's okay. A lot of the times recruiters won't focus on that as much. And there is such thing as transferable skills. So maybe you've had a job that you don't necessarily think pertains to a new job you're applying to, but you'd be surprised how many of the skills that you used in the past will apply to your new position. So yes, I definitely recommend that. Of course, listing the contents in reverse chronological order. So at the top is always your most recent position that you had, and then you go backwards in the past. Making each section very clear and concise. Again, just keeping it straightforward about what the job was, what you did in the job, and move on. And then
Does it have to be like fancy writing? Like I, like instead of saying like I did this, like does that have to be worded a certain way?
No. My recommendation is bullet points, and starting them with, like verbs, or no, not verbs, verbs, like action verbs. Maintain a clean workspace, ran a register, handled cash, or something, just, you can make it very to the point, to make sure that it's showing the person who's reading it what we did very quickly. I do not recommend a paragraph. I would do bullet points.
Yeah.
Because reading paragraphs can get wordy and just long, and bullet points are a little bit more to the point.
And then, of course, making the most of the space on the document. Again, if you're keeping it 1 page, just balancing the white space versus however many words you put into that document just makes it more appealing to the eyes. Okay. So as far as the sections go, this is typically of the presentation.
Oh, this right.
Oh,
I
yeah.
like to take a picture.
Oh, of course. So as far as the sections, this is typically what you will see in a very general resume. So starting off with their header, it's typically going to contain all of your contact information, of course, your name, the best phone number and email address to reach you at, and then your current location. You do not need your specific address. All we need to know is a relative city and state where you're located, just to make sure that if it's a fully in-person position, you are able to make it to your job.
Take the picture.
Yeah, go for it. And then the next section would be education. Of course, yes.
So before the last one.
Education, of course, including your high school or any post-secondary education if you go to college. The name of your school, your graduation date, and then if you have a degree, whatever that is.
I got 7 more classes.
Okay, that's awesome.
So our picture.
Yeah.
It feels like it takes forever.
Yeah.
It does. It does.
And then after your education, typically that's where you'll start talking about your professional background. So of course, the company that you worked for, what your title was at that company, the
Okay.
length of your service, so a year, a few months, whatever that was. And then again, like Hannah was talking about, a brief summary of your responsibilities and if you had any goals in particular that you achieved. That's also really good to kind of look at. And then to her point, always trying to keep it like bullet point, very brief description of what your responsibilities were for that job.
Okay.
And then the last section is typically your skills. This go back to what we were talking about, hard skills versus soft skills. So if you can focus on your hard skills, if you have any, and then always it's good to kind of see a little bit about what your soft skills are as well.
What are the soft skills?
So that would be more like teamwork, communication, problem solving, that kind of stuff.
And then, I also would divide the length of the service. You can just put month and year.
Yeah.
You don't have to do date.
Specific
Date.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right,
okay.
to go with month and year, it's just perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. And then again, we wanted to provide a few examples of like good versus bad resumes. So this is pretty much both of these are examples of bad resumes, what we would consider not good resumes to look at. This one on the right hand, is a little bit disorganized. The dates, again, very specific. We don't need the exact location of the company that you worked for.
Yeah.
Bullet points are okay, they could be a little bit more concise, she goes into a lot of detail. About what they did, so really a lot of unnecessary information here. And then this one is different, this one is just too short, I would say, in comparison to this one. Again, not great use of the space, maybe we left some things out, that could have been beneficial to us when we're reading the resumes.
They're just hard to follow.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, like, if I look at these, I'm like, I don't actually know what's going on, and then I would just do one, it's just difficult.
And then this is another example of a really bad resume, it is
No.
black screen, white lettering, a big no-no. So again, something that Hannah mentioned, it's very difficult to follow just with your eyes. This is not something that you like to see. It's very harsh, black against white.
Yeah.
And then you see at the top, no line with full-time business. That is completely unnecessary, not something that you need to say on your resume. That's already kind of getting a lot of activity.
Yeah.
That's coming off of that first page, and so immediately it's something that kind of puts us off as recruiters. And then again, just going into a lot of unnecessary details as far as like explaining what they did at each position. It would have been easier to kind of keep it very brief with specific bullet points. And then also just the formatting of the pages, kind of hard to follow. So yeah, not a good
I know.
And now these are more of the resume styles that are easier to follow. So again, very straightforward, bulleting, very clear sections, education, experience, relevant skills. Same thing over there, just a little different formatting. But again, very easy to follow, very straightforward bullet points with concise descriptions as to what that person did in their job and the dates, which are easy to follow. And then again, backwards chronological order. Just showing, what started, what's current, and then going back.
Do you have to put the career summary at the top and like the professional objective, what is that?
So you don't have to, you can just jump right into it.
Okay.
That is just honestly a small summary of a cover letter.
Yeah.
So if you don't wanna do a cover letter, I would suggest doing a summary or an objective. Just because it gives a little bit more of what you're looking for, versus the whole cover letter. Again, that just kind of depends on the type of job you're applying to.
Yeah.
If you're doing more entry level, I would just do a summary or an objective. If you're doing more, career level, then I would maybe look into a color. You'll also notice that like the formatting is very universal from top to bottom, so, each title is, capitalized, each company's capitalized, each title, with the location is universal across the board. All of their times are all the same, their bullet points all match. Well, this one's not indented, but they're indented, like, it all is cohesive across the board. For this one, relevant skills, professional experience, education, and professional objective, they're bolded and underlined. So just make sure when you're writing your resume, if you're explaining the job that you're gonna be taking, that all the bullet points look the same. I know that sounds crazy, but it really does matter.
Yeah.
It also shows that you actually looked at it before you sent it in. Always review your resume before you submit your resume. It may be like 6 months since you applied to a job last, to make sure it's up to date. And make sure it doesn't say May 2025 to present, November 2021 to present, March 2020, because it looks like you have 3 jobs, whereas you don't have 3 jobs. You love that job, you love that job. And you don't have Okay, so resume writing tips, like I mentioned earlier with the cover letter, research the company you're applying for, make sure. As much as you want a job, make sure that the company you're applying to meets what you want as well. You're interviewing them as much as they're interviewing you to make sure that it's a good fit. Be consistent with your format and content, that's what I, just kind of went over with the resume that we looked at. Make it easy to read and follow, use those bullet points, try to stay away from a paragraph. Keep it in 1 page if possible, watch your verb tenses, that's huge. If you previously worked at a job, make it past tense, you're currently there, make it present tense. And that's, like I said, starting each line with a verb, made, blah, blah, blah. Maintained, blah, 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 but if you're there, I make this, maintain this, so keep the tenses consistent across the board. Use specific and active language, and then avoid first person pronouns.
Okay.
Obviously, they know that it's your resume, so you don't have to say like, I did this, I did this. Yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
it's time to review, but since you don't have a resume, how confident do you feel? Obviously, if they can help you, right, to just create a resume right now. It's good.
Yeah.
So we brought this computer so you can use it and just do just follow the instructions. You can always use Google to find formats, because you can just go to Google and just ask for some resume formats, like just like the ones they show us, like what are the most common or the best looking resumes, or you can just follow that and just create your own resume. Okay? Do you want us to be here and help you? Do you want to yeah, okay, awesome.